We're joined by Republican strategist Amy Tarkanian and Democratic strategist Morgan Harper. Thank you, ladies, for being with us. The first question is for you, Amy. Should a private company like Twitter be allowed to operate its platform however it sees fit within reason? And what is the issue if the government was making these requests and Twitter executives agreed?
Sure. Well, and that's a tough question to actually answer, because as it being a private company, you want to give it complete and 100% control of what they feel is necessary and how they want to run their business. However, we had a pandemic. I know that we gave a lot of our government officials grace in the beginning because it was something new, something that most of us had never experienced before in our lifetime. And hopefully, we won't experience it again anytime soon. But we did give grace. And so I think it was actually more responsible for this private entity to maybe be a little bit more careful on what was allowed and what wasn't allowed, just because it was a life or death situation for many, not for all, but for many. So do I feel comfortable with the government, wanting to push their agenda? No, I don't. But I think there is a time and a place for when misinformation really should be checked and should be checked thoroughly.
And really, I think that the line is so gray, because you have a company that is private. At the same time, you have a company that is releasing so much information as a public service during a time of historic change. Morgan, some of the so-called misinformation that was reportedly suppressed by Twitter included factual claims about the effectiveness of the COVID vaccine. There were a lot of concerns the government wasn't being as transparent about this kind of data. Could this come back to bite them?
Well, yeah, I do think it's important that we make very clear the government has a responsibility to protect public health and make sure that accurate information about how the public's health is being protected gets out there into the general information ecosystem. But Twitter, as a private company, also has its obligations to have content moderation policies that it's using to track the validity of whatever information is being presented on their platform. But here's the key point, is that are we as a society comfortable with having these large social media platforms be the arbiter of what is true and what is false? And that's what this situation presents. And, from a market power perspective, Twitter is not the largest. They are not even really considered part of the big tech, Facebook, Google, the other huge platforms that have a very big influence over the information we see in making these types of decisions. But we do know that they're having some influence over that. And this is why we need a better regulatory scheme at the federal level to control and to make sure that we are balancing the information that's being presented with the truth and validity of that, given these companies' influence and power.
We're going to talk a little bit about regulation in just a second. But Amy, I wanted to tell you some of the critics of the Twitter files, you probably saw this online over the weekend, including California Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu, called Monday's release gaslighting, maybe suggesting that reporters were manipulating or calling into question reasonable practices. Is the real issue that there is so much we don't know about what is reasonable or appropriate or accurate?
Well, yes, and I think, who is the one to make that decision? So that's why I think it's good to have maybe a think tank and a group of folks who actually have this discussion, maybe not just a select few, because I most likely probably don't agree very often with Ted Lieu. But in this case, I think it is important to probably have more voices than not in the oversight situation. When you are contemplating on President Trump's tweet, basically telling everyone, that he had the vaccine and that he felt great and to not be afraid of COVID, so that way you could still go on and live your life to the best of your ability. That's not misinformation, in my opinion. However, the Biden administration felt that it was. So when you also have a tweet out there questioning, as you showed earlier, the empty shelves that was happening in the grocery stores, I experienced that, and we still experience that to some degree. So that was not misinformation. So I think it's important to have reasonable, rational human beings come together and think through this wisely and not just nitpick.
One quick question, Morgan. We only have a few seconds here. Lawmakers have called for reforming Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which would protect platforms from liability for users' posts. Do you think that this conversation around the Twitter files could change that?
No, I think the momentum around doing something on Section 230 continues, and I expect to hopefully see movement on that in the new term of Congress. But in terms of this mythical entity that we might use to investigate information, Adrienne, I look to you and your colleagues. We have a whole profession of journalism that is responsible for that. And part of the issue we're finding right now is that these tech platforms have destroyed journalism, made it really difficult for folks to be able to do that investigation, get information out. And so we need a correction here big time in Congress to make sure that folks like yourself are able to do their jobs and really sort through the information to present the public with the most useful things that they need to hear to look out for themselves.
Morgan Harper, Amy Tarkanian, thank you so much for both of you joining us this week. We appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.